CGTN Radio. Hear the difference.
Examining the events that impact and shape China and the rest of the world. This is the Beijing Hour. 1 hour of news and information brought to you every weekday. Now here's your host.
Shane Bigham with you on this Wednesday, September 7th, 2022. You're listening to the Beijing Hour, live from the Chinese capital. On today's program, China is urging the international community to make the maximum effort to ensure safety at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant in Ukraine. China is among the many countries sending aid to Pakistan amid devastating rains and floods. And the UK now has its third prime minister of the past 6 years. In business, China records double-digit growth in foreign trade through the first 8 months of the year. In sports, today's action from the UEFA Champions League. In culture and entertainment, the South African Music Awards introduce a new social media category. Now the day's top stories. China's urged maximum efforts in the international community to reduce risk at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. China's deputy permanent representative to the UN, Gang Shuang, made the comments during a UN Security Council meeting.
Since the outbreak of the Ukraine crisis, threats brought by armed conflicts to nuclear plant safety and security have cast a shadow of potential nuclear disaster upon the whole world. In the face of countless lives and the well-being of generations to come, we can't just leave things to chance, let alone remain inactive. Rather, we must exert maximum efforts to prevent possible accidents from taking place.
UN body held the conference to discuss issues pertaining to the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres and International Atomic Energy Agency Director General Rafael Grossi attended the meeting. The IAEA called for efforts to establish a nuclear safety and security protection zone around the power plant. Last week, Grossi led a 14-member expert mission to the plant. Two of the experts have remained at the facility on a permanent basis to ensure its safety. Nick Harper has more from UN headquarters in New York.
Europe's largest nuclear power plant remains at risk, despite months of warnings that the fighting must stop. Last week, a team of inspectors from the International Atomic Energy Agency assessed the damage at the plant. In its 52-page report, it details extensive damage and warns that continued fighting in the area represents a constant threat to nuclear safety and security. The IAEA says the shelling must stop and urges both sides to establish a security protection zone around the facility to prevent a nuclear catastrophe. 2 inspectors remain at the site, and that, the head of the IAEA argued, puts his agency in a unique position.
We, in this case, had the historical, ethical imperative to prevent something from happening. And by having established this presence and by agreeing to a special safety and security protection zone, we have the opportunity to prevent this from happening.
The IAEA report did not apportion blame for the recent shelling. At the Security Council meeting, though, Russia and Ukraine once again blamed one another. The UN chief warned fighting in the region could have very dangerous consequences.
Any damage, whether intentional or not, to Europe's largest nuclear power plant in Zaporizhzhia or to any other nuclear facility in Ukraine could spell catastrophe, not only for the immediate vicinity, but for the region and beyond. All steps must be taken to avoid such a scenario. Common sense and cooperation must guide the way forward.
China's permanent representative said the situation was nerve-wracking for the international community, but added he was pleased the inspection had taken place last week. Russia seized the facility early in the conflict, which began in February, but is using Ukrainians to continue operating the facility. The inspector's report says the staff are under constant high stress and pressure, especially with the limited staff available. That's something the IAEA says is not sustainable and could lead to increased human error that could threaten nuclear safety at the facility.
That was Nick Harper reporting. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said the sanctions fever of the West is a threat to the whole world. While addressing the 7th Eastern Economic Forum from Vladivostok, Putin accused the Western countries of trying to maintain a world order that's beneficial only to them. He said trust in the dollar, euro, and pound has been undermined, and Russia is cutting usage of those currencies. Putin noted that the Russian economy was coping with financial and technological aggression of the West and acknowledged there are difficulties in some industries and regions. The Chinese Foreign Ministry has rebuked the United States for launching cyber attacks on the country. The remarks came after the National Computer Virus Emergency Response Center released investigation reports of U.S. cyber attacks on China. Wang Lei is coordinator of cyber affairs with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
The U.S. is confident that they boast the most powerful cyber military forces and can control all consequences of any cyber attack. However, the reality is that things cannot follow the U.S. script every time. If there is a misjudgment, it could lead to escalation of the situation or get things out of control. So such acts of the U.S. are both dangerous and irresponsible.
The report says the U.S. National Security Agency recently mounted hundreds of thousands of malicious cyber attacks targeting Chinese objectives, including launching an attack on Northwestern Polytechnical University. Wang also called on the U.S. to work with China and jointly build a peaceful, secure, open, and cooperative cyberspace on the basis of mutual respect, equality, and mutual benefit. Rescuers are doing their utmost to save people after the earthquake in Sichuan province on Monday. A working group sent by the State Council has arrived to lead the rescue effort. Rescue personnel have restored electricity for nearly 22,000 families. Firefighters have transported more than 90 people to safety and checked around 3,000 households while still working to find more people. With rainfall expected in the region today, the rescue work will become even harder. Zheng Songwu spoke to a local fire brigade official involved in the rescue efforts in Luding County.
Rescue workers were sent to carry out the rescue operations. The fire department of Sichuan province also sent over 1,000 firefighters to carry out the rescue mission. And now I'm in Detuo town, another town in Luding County, 5 kilometers away from the epicenter.
There are 3 difficulties in the rescue work. The first is that the roads to the villages have been cut off after the earthquake. Now the villages are only accessible by air and water. We mainly reach the villages by water. The constant falling rocks also pose difficulties for rescue efforts. Second, it is hard to utilize the technology and equipment of the fire department. Third, communication is not smooth on the ground.
So the rescue efforts are still going on, and different rescue teams are still working together to help each other and to help rescue people. And another big challenge is that the weather forecaster says it's going to be raining, so that may be another challenge for rescue operations. And but anyway, the rescue operations will continue for a few days.
And that was Zheng Songwu reporting. A 4.5 magnitude aftershock struck Semian County overnight, with more than 13 aftershocks above magnitude 3 recorded. Guo Tianqi has more on how authorities are ensuring people's livelihoods and safety.
In order to deal with the frequent aftershock, people are living in open air in the temporary shelter like this. Where I'm standing is one of the largest temporary shelter center in Shimian County. And in those downtown area, the government is providing all the daily necessities for the people living here, including hot meals and drinking waters and everything they need. Also, they're providing emergency generators and emergency telecommunication vehicles. Also, you can see on the left side of me, there are some tents that look different. They're provided by the government and to support the residents here with some consultants, including legal consultants, and solve their problems. And also, there are also some other tents that are set up by the companies such as the State Grid and telecommunication and also insurance companies to provide different services to the residents here. You can see behind me is the residents here also can find some entertainment. This is a mobile library provided by the Ya'an City Library, and you can also find there are some toys prepared for the young children. But the daily supplies for those people that still in the most heated villages are not very easy to access because the roads are still blocked. The rescue team have to send the daily supplies and the tents and all the other equipment to there by water. They're using lifeboats to send all these materials there. But people there are helping themselves with the hot meals and other things and maintaining the orders. And we also told that later today and tomorrow there might be some rainfall in the most heated areas in Shimian County. So the government is planning to send some waterproof materials to those areas, such as the waterproof blankets, quilts, and the tents for them by using the helicopter. And also, we know Sichuan province is right now fighting for a severe outbreak of COVID-19. But before the earthquake, Shimian County haven't found any one case of the confirmed case. But after the earthquake, people are coming into Shimian and to provide the operation of the rescue. So the authorities are asking those rescue team members to have at least one COVID test every day, and the people that are living in the temporary shelter, they have to take at least 2 COVID tests within 3 days.
That was Guo Tianxi reporting.